Hi, good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining this session today. So I see we have some colleagues from the Hong Kong campus. Welcome to this session. Thank you for joining us. Truly appreciate it because I understand that today is a public holiday in Hong Kong. Am I right?
Yes.
So thank you very much for taking the time to join us here. So I hope you gain something from this session and probably be able to share with your colleagues. Right, and welcome to the rest of my colleagues from Malaysia. I think it's raining outside, in Penang. Rather wet morning, and I hope the rest in KL are safe. I haven't seen you for a long time though. All right, so this morning we are looking at this topic on flipped classroom. So to begin, my name is Michelle and I am from the School of Communication and Languages. So I think most of you have met me or probably have attended my session before. For those who have not, just a little bit of an introduction. I have been here for how long? Let me think. Since 2010, but I took some time off also in between for my kids when they arrived. So I've been back full-time since 2014, and I've been doing a lot of trainings in-house, especially. That's where I started for my colleagues because I see the struggles that most of my colleagues have had to go through because I also struggled the same way when I started my career. So my background is in linguistics, specifically in English linguistics. Therefore, I don't come from the educational background when I started my career. So for those who come with an education background, you would understand that you learn things like learning theories or teaching strategies and so on. But I've never had that kind of training. Yet I started my job teaching English. So it was a struggle because I didn't really have the theory behind it. Never had any practicum done. So I learned through the hard way, trial and error, doing my own research, attending workshops, reading on what other people have tried and trying out on my own and trying to understand why it didn't work and getting frustrated and all. And then after that, I went on to do my Cambridge International Diploma for Teachers and Trainers. That was considered my first formal education and training on learning theories and pedagogy. So I've learned a lot, and I've also come to understand more about my own struggles, and then I see my colleagues struggling the same way as I did. So many of my colleagues came from the industrial background. They are very good in terms of their content. So content knowledge is, of course, unquestionable. However, in terms of the pedagogy knowledge, that's where a lot of times they can't seem to reach out to the students and find that teaching is very frustrating. And in the end, they went back to the industry. So I kind of understand that because I didn't have that pedagogy training before. So that's when it sort of like got me started on sharing my struggles and how I overcome it with my colleagues. And that's how I got into the teaching and learning department to assist my colleagues. And slowly from there, I also moved on to doing teacher training programs for other universities and also to the public teachers. So currently I'm doing my doctorate in education. So hopefully by the end of my journey, I will be better equipped with more knowledge to share with my colleagues here. So that's a little bit about me. I actually hope that I can reach out to each one of you to understand and to get to know you better, but I've only given 2 hours today, and that's quite a bit of things that I want to share with you. Have you got any questions for me before we start? No? All good? Okay. Right, great. So today's session is going to be like semi-seminar workshop kind of a style. Yeah, I try to I mean, I want you to kind of like also apply some things that you gather from today's session, and I hope that you will be able to apply it in your classroom. Right, so let's get on. Back to my topic here. Flip, flop, or flee, navigating the challenges of flipped classroom. So typically, as all what educators are supposed to do, we have to begin with our learning outcomes. So at the end of this 2-hour session here, I hope you are able to identify the common challenges of flipped classroom model. You may have experienced it, but if you have not, I'm sure you have heard about it as well. And then hopefully at the end of this session, we can look at the possible solutions and how you can apply these possible solutions to overcome the challenges of the flipped classroom model. And if you have not tried the flipped classroom model, I hope that at the end of today's session, you have better confidence to do it. So it's a very simple itinerary or agenda for today. Yeah. Oops, there's a typo there. Yeah, I just see that we are going to end at 11:45 p.m. No, I'm not. It's 11:45 a.m. We will do the closing. Yeah. Right. So we're going to talk a little bit about what flipped classroom is, then look at the challenges, and the most important part will be how are we going to overcome this? What are the possible solutions? Before we begin, I'd like you to look at this question posted on Menti. Okay, if you have your phone, you can scan the QR code there. If not, you can also click on the link here that I'm going to provide you in the chat. Okay. Well, we have quite an equal audience here. Let me share with you the result. Can you see my screen? Yeah. So we have a lot of you have tried, slightly more than the percentage of those who have never tried before. And we have 8% of I don't know. Okay, right, quite a fair balance. That would be good. So whether you have flipped, okay, or you have flopped in any way, or then you have thought that this is not going to work ever again, this is the most horrible strategy or approach that you have used for teaching, and you're going to run away from this, not ever going to try this method again, I do hope that I will be able to pull you back today and to try this method again. All right, so it doesn't matter you have flip-flop or flee. I hope that you'll be able to gain something from this session today. So first, let's look at this. The flipped classroom actually starts with just one question. Do you know what is the question? Anybody? There is just one question that triggered the start of flipped classroom. Anyone? Everybody is very silent. It's a wet morning in Penang. I know, very cozy, very comfortable. Not too sure how it's like in KL and in Hong Kong. Hong Kong is on a holiday, so I can understand. Okay, Stephanie says how? How what? So Charlie says mixed with online and on-spot learning.
Is it true? Because I'm not an expert.
No worries, yeah. No, I'm not an expert either. Basically, what I'm doing here today is to share with you what I have experienced and how I have overcome some of the problems that I had. And it seemed to work for me. And I've also shared this with some of my colleagues. It did work for some, but I would say that not 100%, okay? Because your students are different from my students and different from other students. So there's no one solution for everything, yeah? So, but we are all here to share what we have gone through. Hopefully, you know, some of the solutions proposed will be able to help you with the issues that you're having with flipped classroom. So Bridget shares prior knowledge of student. Okay, so let's see, yeah. Actually, the question is, what is the best use of my face-to-face class time? We only have so little time with our students. Generally for us, we see our students 2 to 3 hours face-to-face in a week. And our semesters run like 10 to 12 weeks. And you imagine that time that we have, 3 hours or 2 hours a week, we need to ensure that our students learn so that they can get through what they need to complete for that semester to move on to the next. So it really starts with the question of how do I use my class time in the most effective way so that my students can really maximize their learning. We always complain that we don't have enough time, right? We cannot seem to, I think many teachers like to say, we cannot seem to cover the syllabus. I don't know, sometimes that the word cover can be quite also, what you call, abstract, yeah? Is it covering the syllabus or helping students to uncover or discover their learning? Yeah, that's something for you to think about over the weekend probably. But this question actually came from this person who created or started this flipped classroom approach. That is Jonathan Bergman. Yeah, he is the pioneer of the flipped classroom pedagogy. So this actually drove him to think about how he can change the way we are teaching so that he can teach the students better during the class time when the students are with him. So if you look at what's going on today, especially after the pandemic, we are all talking about blended learning or hybrid blended learning, which is the new normal now. I remember many years ago when I started using the flipped classroom approach, that was like 2015, 2016. It wasn't really new, but rather new in Malaysia, and not many people know about it. And of course, students are also not aware of such technique. And I get a lot of negative feedback, terrible teaching surveys, low scores, lots of complaints. But I say I am persistent, but my father would always say that I am very stubborn. Okay, I'm persistent. I kept on trying because I believe that it is one of the most powerful way of approaching teaching and learning with the students. If you look at the research, the literature review, it will show you tons of research that shows that flipped classroom method is really the way to go because it improves students' performance, it improves students' engagement, and they have higher learning satisfaction. Okay, but a lot of times I know it didn't work out because you know, when we try to change something, sometimes at the very beginning it's a struggle, it's difficult. And it's not easy to change things overnight, especially when students have been learning in schools for 12 years or 13 years in that same traditional method. And here you are in university, you try to change the way they have learned before, and you're trying to convince them that this is a more effective manner of learning when they have done so well in the last 12 years. Similarly, for my teachers, when I started to share this with them, I know they were frustrated. I know some of you are here today as well listening to me. I know how you were very unhappy doing it and how you kept telling me that it doesn't work, it's so difficult, the students are not cooperative and so on. But I can say that today you see it working. But of course, I know you have struggled a lot as well over the years. So first thing is, I must say that it takes a long time, okay? But I don't think it will take the rest of you as long now, especially after the pandemic, because of the rise of technology and advancement, and also the technology acceptance in our students as well as in our teachers. That was one of the most difficult thing I had to overcome, is the acceptance of technology by the students and also by the teachers when I first started using Flip. Okay, so I would say half your battle is already won, yeah? Okay, so now before we move on to what exactly is Flip, I'm sure you've heard of blended learning, right? Are you all familiar with blended learning? Yes, no? Yes, okay, Anna says yes. So what exactly is blended learning? Can anybody share what exactly is blended learning? Come on, don't be shy. There are only like 16 of us here. Very small group. Hybrid learning, okay. So what is hybrid learning? What do you do? Okay, Anna says online learning and in-person classroom learning. Okay, right. Sini says mix of face-to-face and asynchronous learning, right? Okay, so there's part online, part face-to-face, right? Yes, combination of traditional and e-learning, right? Great, thank you. So even long before with all this technology coming in, yeah, we have been, I think most of us have used blended learning before, yeah. But now in this this era, when we talk about blended learning, the technology part of it has to be in. Okay, so there is the online part with the technology, and then there is the in-class, in-person part. Yeah, okay. Yes, Rina, you're right. Traditionally, it's the combination of various approaches that is considered blended learning. But now it has moved on to the use of technology. So blended learning is actually driven by the advances in video technology and the increasing network speed, as well as changes in students' expectations. If you look at students now, how do they learn? Do they learn like the way you learned last time when you were in university or in school? Do they approach learning in the same way? I remember those days when I was in university, yeah, my lecturer will just stand in front in the same space, same stage, or same spot, and talk non-stop for 3 hours, using the OHP, transparencies over transparencies, and all the students did was just copying every single thing that you see or that you hear. Were you like that? Was it like that for you? Or probably I am from the very old, I am very old. So for those who have not gone through this, then maybe you will know how old am I. Yeah? I'm not that young. So Rina says through visual audios, a lot of stimulation. So you're referring to how you used to learn in university, or you're referring to how students learn today? Students nowadays, okay, right. So if you learn that way, then you are considered in the younger generation. So it's rather different from how we approach learning, right? Bridget says, my time was transparency. Yes, Bridget, I'm that old. Transparencies, yes. So now you know my age. So blended learning aims to improve student engagement, knowledge retention, and academic achievement. Honestly, I don't think I was very engaged when I was in university. But in terms of knowledge retention, I think I was able to retain some information, but that kind of information only retain until the end of the final exam. After the final exam is over, I cannot remember anything. But in terms of academic achievement, I think at that point of time, because it was really very cognitive heavy, I think possibly, it does help me to a certain extent in terms of my academic achievement. But if you use the same approach that you have experienced last time with students today, do you think that you are able to maintain that kind of student engagement or help students to retain the knowledge and help them with their academic achievement? What do you think? Shamini says, not at all, right? I can tell you they will, within 1 minute, they are out of the classroom. Even if they're not out of the classroom, they are somewhere else already. So that is why this approach came about, the flipped classroom. So those who have tried flipped classroom, does your classroom look like this now? Do you stand upside down? right? So flipping the classroom is not like turning the classroom upside down, yeah, but rather switching the things that you do in the classroom and the things that you expect your students to do at home. So if you look at this picture here, the student sitting at the desk by himself is what we expect students to do on their own out of the classroom. Okay, and then in class is where we have the instructor there, and students will sit around to do group discussion. So instead of teaching the students concepts like how our lecturers used to teach us those days, stand in front and lecture us on the concept, okay, and then after that ask us to go back and then go out of the classroom, or in your own time do your group discussion and then come back and present the following week. Instead of doing that, now the flipped classroom method is students will do the content learning at home on their own, and with that knowledge acquired, they come to class, they will use their knowledge to do the discussion in the classroom with the lecturer's presence, so that he or she can facilitate the discussion and help the students to learn. So the flipped classroom method is like this. Before the classroom, before going to the class, students are expected to prepare on their own so that they can participate in the activities during the class time. So they will be given content or materials to learn at home on their own, at their own pace. And then during the class time, they will come together to apply what they have learned. And then after class time, they will do some post classwork, typically things like reflection to check their understanding, or a quiz or a submission of a task or an activity, so that they can check if they have understood what they have done before class, during class. Okay, so you see that in the classroom, there is no longer the what you call the teacher giving the lecture or giving the content. The content would have been given before the class. So if you practice the outcome-based education approach, what kind of Bloom's level do we focus in class? What levels are we focusing in class in terms of the Bloom's taxonomy? Colleagues from Hong Kong, do you use the Bloom's taxonomy?
We
Yes.
use the Solo, mainly Solo.
Solo, okay.
Yeah.
So you use Solo, right?
For the Solo, and some colleagues may use the Bloom taxonomy. Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, right, great. Okay, so Charlie has given his answer here. You focus on the application, analysis, and synthesis, yeah? So it's applying, analyzing, and creating. Yes, Rina, the top 3 levels. Yes, Shamini, correct. So it's about the evaluating and the creating, the applying, and the analysis part. So what do we do with the bottom levels? Do we just ignore it? Where do we put the lower levels, or do we just forget about them because they are not important? We just need to focus on higher levels because that's the more important part. Right, Stephanie, that's right. The online part, which is then the out of class time. Yes, so that is why you see in the flipped classroom method, the content or the material is learned by the students on their own before class time, because that is the part where you're focusing more on the lower level of the Blooms, okay, the low thinking skills. Then after that, when they are in class, they practice the higher order thinking skills, which is really different from last time or the traditional approach, where in class, most of the time, the lecturer will stand and deliver a lecture, and that is focusing on the lower order thinking skills. And then out of class, students are expected to apply, analyze, and analyze, evaluate, and also create. And many students fail to do so because they don't know how to do it, because all they know is the lower order thinking skills. So with this approach now, when we flip it, you will see that students are given opportunities to practice the higher order thinking skills. And that is what the outcome-based education is about. You need to provide students opportunities to practice your expected learning outcomes before you can actually test them. You cannot test a student. That means you cannot give them the exam or whatever assignment before you allow the students to have an opportunity to do a trial. Okay, because students can only learn after you have given them feedback. If first time what they do is what they submit to you, definitely many of them will not succeed. So with this approach now, when it's flipped, students will get opportunity to apply the higher order thinking skills, which are generally the focus of each course, especially in university. And you, as the lecturer, will be able to provide them feedback so that they can improve before they finally do a submission of what they are supposed to do, or before they finally perform to be assessed or to be measured. Okay. Any questions so far? All good? Okay. So now you understand the basis or the rationale behind flip. Yeah. And I know many of you here have tried flip. So my next question is, what is your biggest challenge in applying the flipped classroom model? And for those who have not tried the flipped classroom model, what do you think will be your biggest challenge? Okay, so it's the same link. Yeah, go back to the same link. So the question will appear. It should appear on your screen already. Okay, so I've received 11 answers. So students' participation, okay, preparation before class, encouraged to discuss motivation, time. Wow, time is an issue, right? Not study before class, read before class. Yeah, so these are all under students' preparation. Students' participation, another one. Students do not study. I suppose that means that students do not prepare before class. Yes, Lillian, you're right. Not all topics in the course is suitable. We do not expect every single course to be flipped or every single topic to be flipped. So it's really this the lecturer's ability to think whether what method is the best. Okay. Right, good. So all these challenges that you have highlighted here is not something that is what do you call? Something that is uncommon. I've also faced the same kind of problems before. And if you look up in the literature, the same kind of problems. I think one of the things that some of you did not mention is the access to technology. Okay, we might all assume that I have a laptop, I have a smartphone, therefore everybody will have it. But there are some students, they do have a smartphone, but maybe the capacity or the ability of the smartphone or the speed of the phone or whatever may not be up to that standard or the level. Okay, similarly to their other devices. So we have to also consider all this, but I guess most of us are quite lucky in a way that we don't really have a very big issue in this. I do have some students who have come to me to say that they do not have a laptop. They only have a phone. That's all they can afford. So for students like this, asking them to type things in for example, Word, is rather difficult. So we have to be aware that some students may have issues with access to technology, and therefore these kinds of things will cause your flipped classroom method to not work so well. Okay, so it's good to know who are your students and what is their access to technology like, because flipped classroom heavily rely on students having access to computers, laptops, the internet, and also other necessary technology tools. Yeah. Okay, number two, many of you highlighted on student preparation. This is perhaps one of the most common problem, one that I had also constantly, even until today, I still have this problem. But I will share with you how to fix it and also how to minimize it. It's very common that students will not do what you ask them to do. And when they come to class, they are not prepared. When they are not prepared, then whatever that you plan for the in-class activities cannot happen because they are not ready for it. So how do we ensure that students complete their work before they come to class? And sometimes not only about completing their work, it is also about whether students learned or did not learn the materials that they are supposed to learn. Okay, how do we train students to be more self-directed? That's also another topic. Like I've mentioned just now, my students, when they come to university, 12 to 13 years of their life, they have been in this teacher-centered environment. They have never been independent in their learning. They have never directed their own learning before. And all of a sudden, you ask them to take ownership of their learning. They don't know how to. And what's worse is, they tell me, I pay you money to teach me. Now you ask me to go and watch video and learn on my own. That's what they said to me before. Yeah. So that was the kind of mindset students have. The third one, time management. Time management here is not only on the student's part, where the biggest problem, which is related to the student preparation, they did their work or not before time, but it's also time management for us teachers. We not only need to prepare for the pre-class work and make sure that it is available before class time. Before class time means like it's not like 1 minute before class time and then you ask them to do it. Before class time means like best is at least a week before, or minimum 3 days before your class, depending on how much you want them to do. Ideally, I would say 1 week before their class, so that they have enough time to go through the materials and to do what you ask them to do. I've had also heard before that, I've read in some of my colleagues' teaching survey where students feedback on the lecturer's approach in using this flip. And the students said that the teacher always give us work to do the night before. So the class is at 9 a.m. The teacher will put it in the LMS the night before at 10 p.m. and expect the students to complete it before the class at 9 a.m. So we have to be careful when we, do this, because we cannot expect students to be available or be awake or to check their email or whatever at 10 p.m. and then expect them to complete it by 9 a.m. the next day. I think we have to also be fair, and especially some of our students are also working adults, so they have also other obligations. Therefore, it's very important that we as teachers, we also manage our time well, so that we won't make students feel like, oh, this is so daunting, I don't want to do it. In addition to that, teachers also need to think about the in-class activities for the students. It is no longer just walk into the class, turn on your computer, turn on your PowerPoint slides, and then you just talk. No longer that, because all the talk, you have already given it in the pre-class. So what do you do in your classroom now? You have to design activities that are engaging, that will help them apply what they have learned. So that part also takes up time. So time management here is not only for students, but also for the teachers. OL can assist now. That's right, Stephanie. That's why I said after the pandemic and everything, all these problems are quite easily managed nowadays compared to many years ago. With the AI now, no problem, right? Okay, then the fourth one is on teacher training and preparation, which is a good thing that all of you are here today. So, like I said, yeah, even if you have done an education, degree last time, you may find that whatever techniques or pedagogy that you have learned in your university cannot be applied now anymore. Okay, you need to constantly go for trainings, go for workshops to enhance your teaching skills. So you need to think about all these applications that are available, how to design engaging pre-class content for your students, but at the same time also you need to think about how to design meaningful in-class activities for your students, so that they will feel that they come to class, they learn something, and they can apply what they have learned. And another skill that is really important for lecturers are how to facilitate discussions among the students. Sometimes I'm sure you have encountered students sit down together, but they're not talking about what they're supposed to talk. They talk about other things. So if we don't have proper training or support, this will all stop you from implementing flipped classroom successfully. Okay, so support from your institution, from your management, from your head is also very important to help you to actually implement flipped classroom successfully. And then the next one is assessment and feedback. Now, with the change of how we are teaching our students, you will find that some of our assessments may not be suitable anymore, especially those that are very heavy in cognitive testing. Okay, because now we do a lot of discussions, group work, and so on in the classroom. We need to think about how we are assessing our students and how we are providing feedback to the students. So as students are doing the in-class activities and all, lecturers need to walk around, go around to provide them feedback timely so that they can actually help students to improve. So in this method, we actually focus on progress over the product. It's the progress of how students learn, not the product, not the end result, but throughout the semester, how the student learn. And if you look at generally the landscape of education now, we are also focusing more on the progress. You see that a lot of programs and a lot of courses now, they are not so heavy on the final exam anymore. It's not like you study whole semester and then 100% is the final exam. You will probably have 60% coursework and 40% final exam, or 70-30 and so on. Okay, unlike last time, which is like I remember 40% coursework, 60% final exam. Okay, slowly things are changing. And lastly, student engagement and motivation. Many of you mentioned this just now. How do we make sure that students are actively participating in your classroom? Yeah. And what about students who are not prepared? They didn't do the pre-class work. What are we going to do with them, right? Because that will hinder you from successfully implementing your in-class activities. Okay, so when students are not prepared, they didn't do their pre-class work, that's it. Your whole lesson is gone because whatever you plan in class cannot work at all. So after talking so much about all the problems, so how are we going to solve all these problems? Like I said, today here, I'm suggesting to you or sharing with you some solutions that I have found useful in my classroom. You can try it with your students and see if it works for you. And I would also love to hear from the rest of the colleagues who have done flip before, and what are the other methods you have used to solve the problem. So there are 6 possible solutions that I have listed here. The first one is we have to ensure that we provide scaffolding and support. Like I said, if your students come from a very teacher-centered learning environment, and now you want them to be student-centered, you want them to take charge of their learning, you want them to practice self-directed learning, we need to be ready to offer them support, to guide them. So that means that we need to have clear instructions on what they need to do step by step. We need to make sure that they have all the resources for them. We need to tell them what are the applications that they need, okay? Tell them how they are supposed to go about the pre-class materials. Okay, some things that I have tried using is also doing short tutorials, excuse me, short videos to guide them how to do a certain thing online. Okay, things like even like how to use PowerPoint, or how to use the Prezi presentation kind of thing, you know, simple tutorials for them. Even if you don't create, there are plenty of resources online on YouTube. It's also good. Another method that I've used is to provide checklists for students so that they know which one they need to do, which one they need to do first, and ensure that they do everything before they come to class. So instead of just like, putting everything on Open Learning, that's the LMS that we use, I also do set up a separate chat with them on WhatsApp, and I will also upload in the chat, okay, this week you're supposed to do 1, what is it, 2, what is it, 3, what is it? Okay, so that they will know that when they open their page, they must do 1, 2, 3, not do 1, 2, and then finish, forget about the third one. So these are some things that, simple things, you would say that, like this also need to tell, but you'll be surprised that students really sometimes need that kind of guidance, especially if they are first year, first semester. And that's really the kind of students I get, first year, first semester, very fresh. Number 2 is to differentiate pre-class materials. So you know that students have different learning styles. Some people swear by these different learning styles. Some people say that it's not true. Okay, but whether you believe in different learning styles or not, I always believe in variety. Yeah, if you always do the same thing over and over again, after a while, students also get bored. So the pre-class activity can be videos. Yeah, it can be some interactive games. It can be some recording, then listen without any visuals. It can be an infographic poster. It can be a text. Yeah. So all these will accommodate to students who learn differently, students who are more auditory, students who are more visual or more kinesthetic. So having a variety will encourage students to do the work and maybe cover meet the needs of different learners. The next one is to communicate expectations. This one I have find that is one of the most effective ones, I would say, because earlier I did not do this. I did not really start the class by telling my students their my expectations and their expectations. So because of the mismatched expectations, that's why there is always a lot of dissatisfactions at the end of the semester or as the semester goes by. So what I do at the start of the semester is to write my students a love letter to tell them how they will learn with me in my class. So this is how my letter looks like. I hope you can read it, right? It's a bit small, yeah. Okay. So I said, hello everyone. Welcome to our course on English grammar. I'm Michelle, the lecturer for this course, and Miss Shamini is co-teaching this course with me, and Miss Shamini is also in this session now. So I explained to them the importance of English, yeah, and also how I hope that they will excel in their academic, and how the different method that I use will help them to learn better. I also explain to them what are the different kind of tools that I will use. Okay, and I also tell them upfront that what they are going to go through with me will be rather different from what they have experienced before, so that they don't get a shock. Okay, and I explain to them why am I doing it differently. Yeah, so I tell them that I am, working together with them as a partner, rather than to be like, to be what you call, to be, I'm the teacher, you are the student, that kind of thing. It's a two-way thing. If I work, they don't work, then it's not going to work out. Okay, so it's a two-way relationship. If they don't read, I will remind them to read, Stephanie. So in your first class, tell them that you have posted them and send them a love letter. Okay, tell them to go and read. So how do I know whether they read or they didn't read? At the end of my love letter here, I tell them that I've created this chat group. So they will have to join the code there, using the code there. So when they join, I know then they have read my love letter to them. I've noticed that when I did this, when I wrote to them and I tell them how is it different, in my class, I tell them my expectations, and they realize what they're supposed to do, their responsibilities, and therefore we can work better together. And they are more agreeable and more accepting of how the class is run. This code, what do you mean by this code? The QR code, you mean? The QR code is to the chat group in my WhatsApp. So they join the chat group in WhatsApp. In my first class, I also sort of tell them again, I tell them that you need to understand your responsibilities and my responsibilities. How is it different? Yeah, and how we can work together so that they can excel, not academically only, but also in their life. Okay, so if you have not tried this before, I reckon that you should try to write them a letter like this, so that they can understand where you're coming from and they are more prepared to accept the different technique that they're using. Okay, the fourth one is to offer incentives and accountability. So in this, I usually do a lot of games with my students. So there is some sort of element of competition. Sometimes I provide them rewards. Sometimes I also not exactly reward them, but whatever that they do will be tested in one of the formative assessment. So if they do not do the part in the pre-class activity, then they will struggle in the formative assessment, in the quiz or whatever. So that will kind of force them to have accountability and take the initiative to complete the work, the pre-class work especially. Okay. Next one is to foster active learning in the classroom. Now for this one, it's going to be probably another session, because there's a lot about active learning strategies. So now that we have moved the content giving and all to before class, what do you do when you see them in class? I've recently heard someone telling me, a student telling me actually, that one of the lecturers did this flipped classroom method, but in class, the lecturer actually repeated everything that was in the pre-class in class as well. So the student went through the whole content already, but in class, the lecturer did the whole lecturing from slide 1 until slide, I don't know, number what. That's not supposed to be the way, yeah? In class, you're supposed to be doing activities with them to apply. We can do a simple, what you call recap. That's what I do. When they come to class, I will do a recap of what they have learned pre-class. Most of the time, I will pick up all the all the misconceptions or all the errors they make in the quiz or the whatever activity that I ask them to do. Then I will bring all this into my class when I see them face to face, and I explain to them why this answer is wrong, and go back to the terms and the concepts or whatever, and explain to them again, ask them if they understood what I said, and then after that, immediately I will give them a few questions to check their understanding. Okay. All right, so that way you'll be able to make sure that they are all on the right track before you begin your group activity. Sometimes when you start the class and then you start your group activity, you'll find that one student is not ready, another student may have some kind of other ideas, you know, of what's going on. So you'll be to ensure that everybody is on the same track before you start your group discussion or start your class activity. It's good to do a recap. Make sure everybody understands, make sure everybody is clear, nobody is on the wrong track, then only you do the class activity. So what kind of active learning activities in the classroom? There are really so many. Yeah, so many. Yeah. So you can actually just Google online. There are plenty of active learning activities. But I think if I'm not wrong, I guess TNL is also probably going to organize another session specifically on active learning activities. So during class time is the time where we focus on the 4 C's of the 21st century skills. You know the 4 C's? Anybody knows the 4 C's? Stephanie, I see your comment there. We shall look at how to solve your problem afterwards. Okay. Right, Farah? That's right. Critical thinking, creativity, communicating, and also collaborating. So in class, we have to focus on these 4 things. Helping the students to collaborate, to communicate, how to think critically, and how to harness their creativity. So in class, there will be a lot of group work, there'll be a lot of discussion, they might be doing a lot of hands-on experiments, talking about case studies, doing simulations, so that students will be completely engaged and participate in the class activity. Okay. And lastly, not forgetting, I mentioned just now about assessments. So we need to rethink the assessment methods that we are using so that it is aligned to the way we are, to the way we are hoping our students to learn better, making sure that they actually meet the learning outcomes. Okay. Things like projects, presentations, all these are actually good assessment methods to assess students' learning instead of just final exam, which really tests a lot on the cognitive ability. And that's when we get employers saying that, oh, this graduate, they don't know how to talk, they don't know how to think, but they are the best students. How come? Right? Okay. So I hope I've covered generally most of the common problems that we usually face, and share with you some of the methods to overcome your problems. So one of the things that I want to share today with you is a tool that I have used, and I find that is really effective in solving some of the big problems that we have. It's about student preparation. about ensuring students learning before the class, before they come to class, like highlighted by Stephanie here. We only have like one student who will see the content online, and then after that, the others all, when they come in, they haven't do their work. So now have to wait for them to go and do their work. Then those who are prepared, they will sit there and wait. So how do we overcome these problems? Anybody? Those who have practiced flipped classroom as well, how do you overcome this problem? Building rapport with the one that had done the work. Okay, but how are you going to overcome? I mean, like, what are you going to do with these students who always come to class and they are not ready? The ones who have done the work, definitely they are considered more motivated students. But how do we reach out to the less motivated students to ensure that they really do their work before they come to class?
Michelle, can I talk with Celine here? It's
Yeah,
easy
yeah,
to
yeah.
talk instead of writing, right? I
Right,
think
sure.
it is very important that we always forgotten about this. When I was a teacher, I always forgotten about this. Students have to be constantly reminded of the course intended learning outcomes of the course, because there is stated the skills, the cognitive levels we want them to achieve, and the content we want to master. So for every course, every lecture, right, I will point to them, first of all, which learning outcome are we targeting in that particular lecture? And how am I going to develop those learning outcomes? And then I link it to what we are going to do in the flipped classroom. So they know that if they want to achieve that, they have to come and do it. So how, as you said, there will be so many tools to sort of engage the student in the classroom. I'll leave it to you to tell us in another workshop. But to me, every time when you do something, tell them why you are doing what you are doing in related to the silos. Because we ourselves forget the silos. Of course, you don't expect students remember the silos, although it is in our learning management system website, but they never look at them. So they come to class just thinking that, oh, I just listen to the teacher, but they don't know where we are trying to go, what we are trying to get them to learn. I mean, this is something that I just want to recommend to all teachers. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you very much, Lillian, for sharing. Yes, you're very right. We have to be constant naggers, unfortunately. Yeah, I always like to remind my colleagues as well. When we teach, right? We are teaching the same thing every semester or every year, but your students coming to class, it's the first time. You may have said it more than 10 times over more than 10 years, but your student is hearing it for the first time. So you think that you have reminded them, but yet they are like that, but they actually have only heard it one time. They do not know. So you have to be constant naggers and keep on reminding them. So that's why I also like, what Lillian said there is very right, very true. You have to tell them what is the learning outcome. What are we trying to achieve? And it's not about them achieving, it's about us achieving it together. We work together as a team. Okay, so tell them, like in the first letter that I sent to them, or in the first class, we are in this together. We are going to achieve the outcome together. And why is it important for them to achieve the outcome? Okay, every single class, yeah. Stephanie is like, every single class, they will have students who forget to do. Okay, Paul says, let them know why they need to do this and that in the class, and then give them incentive, right? Yeah, okay. Extrinsic motivation works, but sometimes only for a short term. Intrinsic motivation, that's the one that we need to try to get. So that can be very tricky. So the only way to do it is like, you know, you have to talk to them. And Hanida said you got to talk to the student. That's right. Talk to them. Got to explain to them constantly. Yeah. Okay. So no choice, but then we just have to be good naggers lah. But one of the tools that I find has really helped me in terms of managing my students' pre-class work is to use an app called, oops, wait a minute, where did I? It's a tool called Edpuzzle. Are you familiar with this? I know my teachers are. No, no. Anyone else? Yes, no, no, yes. Heard of it, but never used it before. Okay. No. Okay, good. So I think some of you have used it a lot. I know those teachers who are with me, you have used it a lot. Those who have not tried, you should give it a try. Okay, this is one of the best tools that I have used in terms of flip and help. It helps me to kind of like monitor my students' work and also encourage them to do it at the same time. So what exactly is this tool, and what can we do with it? Yeah, so I'm going to let you watch a video that will explain it better than I do, so that you will be more convinced to use this tool. Okay, so let me share. Can you hear it? Can you hear the sound? No audio. Right, I think I forgot to share just now. I forgot to switch the audio. Yeah. I can turn on the audio. Okay.
Kids these days are learning how to do almost everything through video. Videos feel personal, are highly visual, and let you control the pace at which you learn. But when you try to show a video in class, you might not always get the best results. Sometimes it's hard to know if students are paying attention or if they're actually learning anything. But with Edpuzzle, turning a video into a dynamic lesson is easy. You can add questions anywhere in your video, so you can check comprehension and get students to engage in critical thinking. You may not always have time to find a video and add your own questions, but don't worry, the entire Edpuzzle community has got you covered. Scroll through our library of teacher-created content and get inspired by what other educators like you are doing in their own classrooms. Or choose from our standards-aligned Edpuzzle Originals, instructional videos with built-in practice created with you and your students in mind. With the time you save, you can focus on other important things. Sometimes the video content you're looking for doesn't exist yet, so why not try making it yourself? Edpuzzle's screen recording tool lets you create the video that fits your students' needs. When you're done, you can edit the video and embed questions all in one go. Your students will appreciate seeing a familiar, friendly face as they learn. Once you're ready to assign your lesson, that's when the magic happens. You can hold students accountable for watching the entire video and monitor as they watch it at their own pace. Then, use Edpuzzle's real-time analytics to figure out who's ready to move on to the next lesson and who needs a little more help. That way, you can decide how to best use your time in the classroom. So, the next time you want to assign a video, let Edpuzzle be your guide. You'll be joining a network of educators who are changing the face of 21st century teaching, one video lesson at a time.
Hey, does it sound interesting to you? Yes, it is actually a very powerful tool, and you can simply just create a video easily. But we cannot see you. Yes, I'm not in the video. Okay, but I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm still here. I'm just hidden behind it. Yes, explore. Right. So this is what I'm going to do with you. Like I said, this is sort of like a semi-seminar, and a semi-workshop kind of a thing. So actually Edpuzzle is available for free. It used to be completely free. However, now it's only free for, I think, 3 videos. And of course, if you subscribe, then you have, I can't remember the package and all, yeah. So if you sign up, and then there is an invitation code there, and if you share the invitation code with your colleagues, and if your colleague sign up, and then you will get additional 3 videos, if I'm not wrong. Okay, so today you sign up first, and then after that, you can share with your other colleagues, and then get them to sign up using the code that you have, and then you will get additional videos, right? So I'm going to share with you now what it looks like in Edpuzzle. Okay. Get to my screen. All you need to do is to sign up for an account. Go to Edpuzzle, edpuzzle.com. Okay, I put it there already. Go to edpuzzle.com. You set up an account first. If you have Google account, then you can just link it to your Google account and set up from there. Okay. Yep, Richard. I'm going to show you now. So this is, can you see my screen now, my Edpuzzle screen? Yep, okay, good, all right. Okay, so this is my account, yeah. And you will see I have under this tab here, my content. So these are all my videos, okay. So you can easily just get videos from YouTube. or you can create your own video, you upload your own video, or like what you have heard in the video just now, you can also do your screen recording within Edpuzzle. So these are actually added features recently. Not quite recently, maybe 2-3 years ago already. I started using this app back in 2016, 2017, when at that time it was still quite basic. You can add in questions and all and monitor your students' work, but it does not have the screencast kind of a feature yet. Yeah, and it doesn't also have the video editing, the trimming. So sometimes you get videos from YouTube and it's like maybe 20 minutes long, but out of that 20 minutes, right, you probably need to use like minute number 3 until minute number 4. Obviously, you won't be asking your student to watch the entire 20 minutes video, right? And that's when your students will also not watch the video yet you want them to watch. So now in Edpuzzle, you can actually trim that video. Okay, you can trim in between, trim in front, trim at the back, and then merge it, and then you have the video that you want. Or you can just upload your video and put in your question. So these are some of my videos, some where I've taken from YouTube and then put in my questions, and some which I have uploaded myself, like you see this one here. You can see my face. There is also this one that is also created by me. So how does it work? Let's look at this one. Yeah, maybe I can just share this with you so that you can try it. Okay, let me put it on. Okay, can you see the link I posted on the chat? Right, you can click on it, and then you can have a try first. Okay, I give you a few minutes before I go on to explain how you make the video. Can you get into the video? Okay, did you manage to try the questions? Okay, good. Right. So you see that the video will pause and the student will have to answer the question before he can move on to the next part of the video. Unlike the usual way where we post video for students, ask them to watch and then answer the following questions. right? And you will have students who probably will not watch the video and then just simply answer the question, right? And then you don't know whether they're actually learning or not learning. And you don't know whether even if they answer all the questions correctly, they probably could be copying from their friend. You don't really know whether they actually watched and understood everything or not. But with Edpuzzle, you can monitor them and make sure that they answer the question before they move on. And the answer that they submit, you'll be able to see what they put in. And Edpuzzle is able to get students to put in not only multiple choice questions, but also open-ended questions. However, if you put multiple choice questions, they have an auto marking system where you don't have to do the marking. So if you look at this video here now, this is my view, and you will see that all these little dots here, these are where my questions are. And on my, wait, accidentally clicked, oops. So on my right here, you will see these are the markers of all the questions that I have put in. All right. So far, okay. Okay. Right. Okay. Let's go to helping you to make a video of your own. Okay, because I really hope that at the end of this session, you'll be able to take away something that you can apply straight away in your class next week. So say, for example, you are teaching, give me a topic, something, anybody? Anyone? Nobody wants to give me a topic. Okay, never mind. Communication barriers. Okay, all right. We have Stephanie giving. Oh, suddenly so many people giving. Okay, so you see on my left here, there is this discover button, right? So if you click on it, discover. Discover here, it gives you the community, your school, and YouTube. Okay, so community are people who are, teaching around about the same discipline as you. Your school is whoever who are registered, that means your colleagues under the same school. Okay, so all these are my colleagues. And then from YouTube, that's where we always go to get our videos, right? So you can actually get videos from all these places. So all you need to do is to just find what you want. Okay, so for example, you have a research method. Okay, search under YouTube, okay, research method. Right, so you see all these are the videos that you find on research methods. So from here, you can actually choose what video you want. Okay, you find the suitable video that you want. All right, so say for example, okay, this one, research method versus research methodology. Okay, so you want students to learn the difference between research method and research methodology. So this is the video that you want to use. Okay, great. You have chosen this video. Okay, now this is where you can do what you want to do. You want to edit and create your own version, or you want to just copy this video to your content. Later only you will do whatever editing that you want, or straight away assign this video to a class. However, there are no questions here yet. So you want to edit. You want to put in your questions. So you click edit. Okay, so you have the video here now. So you want to watch and you want to check.
What is research methodology? And
Okay, which part of the video you want to use for your class. So this video is, I think just now I saw 3 minutes plus, right? So maybe you only want to use the middle here, just a little bit. So you can actually cut the video by clicking Add Cut, okay? Then you watch again.
In other words, a
okay?
research method
And
is
then
the strategy.
Imagine you think that, okay, that's it, maybe until here. Okay, Add Cut. Okay, that's it. So this is the part you want. This part you don't want. Okay, so click on it and you delete it. Okay, so once you're done editing, whatever part that you don't want, you remove. You're happy. All this, okay, remove, and you don't want. Done. If you're not happy, you can undo and reset. Then you can move on. You can see now the total time is 2 minutes 17 seconds. Then after that, you can move on to this one cannot do voiceover because it is from YouTube with voice already. You can move on to doing your questions. So there are two types of questions that you can put in: multiple choice questions, open-ended questions, or you can actually put in note to remind your students that this is important, or tell them to do something. Take note of what is said here. I want you to find another material on this topic and bring it to class next week. You can also do that. So imagine here, so you have
Confused to
this,
research.
and then here you want to ask questions. So you click on multiple choice, and then you can type your question here. What is research? Question mark. Okay. Then you put in, if this is multiple choice, your answer is so which is the correct answer? You have to select. You can also add another distractor if you want. Once you're done, you can click
Method.
save. So now you see here, there is one question that you have added to it, and this is the question. So if you're fine with this question, then you click
Method
continue.
with research methodology.
And
Of course, the two are not the same, and not the same. And
So let's
4
say-
is the theoretical.
here you want to put an open-ended question. So you click on it and search. You can also allow audio responses, which means students record their voice as feedback to you, or you just want only text. Edpuzzle has also added all this here to facilitate the font size and also emphasis of whatever that you want to. It also allows you to put in all these mathematics symbols if you want to put link, or even to put an image. These are quite new features. Last time there is none. It's just one sentence like this. So once you're done, happy, you save.
Theoretical position.
So as you move on,
Theoretical positioning of the research data.
maybe you
While
want to add another one here, which is a note. Maybe you tell them to bring an article on research. Or you can tell them, this is an important point, take note. Or you can even record your voice by clicking on this little mic here, so that students can listen to you saying something here. And when you're done, save.
The body of this chapter.
So once you are happy with this, okay, these are all the things that you have, 3 here. You can look on your left. You have 1 multiple choice question, 1 open-ended question, and 1 note. If you're happy with this, you can click finish. So there you have it. This is your video lesson. Okay. So now how are you going to share it with your students? Yeah. How? Here, this one. Share preview. Sorry, yeah. Share preview is for your colleagues and all. For your students, you should assign it so that when you assign it, you will be able to see your students' progress. So just now, when I share my link with you, right, my video, I did the share preview. Share preview is where you cannot see the students' progress. I don't have a report. So if I want to, obviously, if I want to give it to my students, I want to see their progress. I need the report. So I will need to assign to the class. So you need to assign to the class. So I have all these are all the classes that I have here. So imagine this is my class. I assign to this class. I can assign to all the students in my class. I can also assign manually, but there's nobody in this class, so I cannot assign manually. So you see this for this course, I can assign to all, or I can assign manually. These are all my students. So in terms of differentiating students' learning, remember just now we say we want to ensure that we are able to reach out to various learners. So this tool also allows us to reach out to students who are better, who are weaker, so that we can gauge so that we can pitch the material at their right level. Okay. So say for example, I just do this, yeah, assign all. Then you can put the start date when. You can also put the due date. So students can still submit after the due date, but it will come out in the report as they are late. Okay, so it's up to you. If you want to put a due date, you can put the due date here. Then you can choose how many times a student can do the assignment. Okay, this is also quite a new feature. Last time is unlimited. And the best thing here is this one, to prevent skipping. Many times we give the students video, you don't know whether they watch everything, they watch from the beginning, especially my colleagues who are in open learning. Yeah, even if you put the what you call the whether it is count as the progress or not. Yeah, sometimes if they don't watch the video, then it is considered not completed, right? But then after that, when they just so-called watch the video, all they did was just drag the thing from the beginning to the end and considered watch already, then it is considered completed. But this one is to prevent them from skipping. So they must answer each question before they can move on to the next part of the video. So you can turn this on. This one is the subtitle. If you want to turn it on, you can. If you don't want, you can turn it off. So done, assign. So then if I go to my class, my classes here, flip right. So the video is here already. So start date, due date. I thought I set my due date. So this is the turn in. How many students have done, how many have not done. So I'll show you my class, the one where there are students, then you'll be able to see. So you see here, okay, there is the start date and the due date. Okay, how many students turn in? Okay, so let's look at this one here. So it will tell you that you have 108 answers to grade, and you look at your students' progress here. Peter Cassandra only watched 10% of my video and did not submit. You see here, Law E. Lim watched 90% of my video but didn't submit their work. Then I have some who actually watched 100% but late. When did the students submit? November 3rd, 2:48 p.m. Okay, so you see all those students who submitted late will be marked late. And all this never. Okay, these are all testing. Yeah. Then I have here Sarawana Selvan, 100%. She watched 100%. She got 80 over 100 marks, and she submitted on time. Okay. So from here, you can see the students' achievement, whether they can understand, they cannot understand, or what. Okay, if you look at this is the student view. I mean the students by students. This is by questions. So see this question, 50 out of 108 got it correct. Okay, only 50%. This one, 52 out of 108 got it correct. So let's say if, like, see this one, 1 out of 108 got it correct. So that means something is wrong. I need to take note of this. I need to go to class and explain to the students again. Why is this singular or plural or whatever? Why you put makes or not make or makes or not make? Okay. So this is where students will be able to see the connection of what you do pre-class and in class, and eventually they will understand the importance of doing the pre-class work before they go to class. Stephanie, this one is not the actual actual class. Testing. Okay. not the actual one. All right. So, is it easy to use? Do you think it's going to be useful for you? Okay, so I do highly encourage all of you to try this out. There are still many things. I mean, I only have like 2 hours today to talk about all this. Yeah, there are many things to still explore in Edpuzzle, but that doing whatever that I've shown you just now will be sort of like the first step for you to try and then see how you can, engage with your students better in using flipped classroom and making it more successful for yourself and for your students. Yes, Xin they should register. If they don't register, then you cannot track their progress. So at the start of the semester, if I'm using Edpuzzle with the students, I will tell them to set up an account already. So whenever you remember just now you saw me putting assign to a class, right? So when I assign to the class, they will go to the class there and then they can see the video there already that they're supposed to do. But of course, in addition to that, I also tell them in Open Learning and also remind them again in the WhatsApp that I set up with them. Yes, you will have the class code when you set up the class and when you share it with them. So where is it? Okay, let me share my screen again, yeah. Okay, so this class, right? Click here. Okay, this is the one. Invite students. This one. This is the class code. So you just copy the link and then you paste it in Open Learning or in your email or whatever. Then students will be able to join. If not, then students sign up for the Edpuzzle account first and then put in this code to join your class. Okay. So once you have already, maybe you want to stop students from simply joining your class in between, you can also click here, lock the class. So that means you don't let people to simply go into the account, go into your class anymore. Okay. It's available for the free account because my account is actually a free account. But I got an wait, let me just check. My account is actually a free account, but I got a pro teacher account with unlimited storage. Okay. But if I'm not wrong, it is available for the free account as well, setting up the class and all. But the only problem is the limit in the number of videos. So if you want to have more videos, right, my advice to you is you get your colleagues to join. Each colleague who join using your code. Yeah, I show you where to get the code. Yeah. Each colleague who joins using your code, then they will be able, you will be able to here, this one, invite teachers. So see, earn more space by referring other teachers to Edpuzzle. For every referral who creates and verifies an account, you each receive storage space for 3 more videos. So you can copy this referral code and pass to your colleague, or put your colleague's email here and you can send invitation to them. Then when they click on the link to join, and they must verify their account. Yeah. So for your, when you click to join, you need to verify your account. There will be a verification sent to your email. You need to verify first, because if you don't verify, then you cannot get into the features. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions?
Michelle, I just want to express my question. Do we have to worry about copyright of all the videos that is available under Edpuzzle?
If you are using videos from YouTube and all this, no, because it's free to use.
Okay, that's important. We don't want to violate copyright. Yes.
No, yeah. So it's okay to use the videos which are available on YouTube and all, because it's all for educational purpose. If you are worried about copyright and all, then you can create your own videos and put it there.
But when you create your own video, that means you give away your own copyright. Right?
In a way, yeah. But so far, I don't know. I've never really had any issues on this, even though I use the YouTube video, or I use I upload my own video.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome. Where to invite again, or where to invite? Invite your student or invite your colleague? Who you want to invite? Invite colleague. Okay, colleague is here. You see my screen? click on your profile here on your top right corner. Then click invite teachers. Here. You can put your colleague's email straight away here, or you copy the link. Okay.
Michelle, it's me again, Lillian.
Yes, Lillian.
There a corporate license for this?
Yep, school account.
A corporate license, that means the college acquires the license and every academic staff can use it without getting your staff to
Yes.
add your staff and then get 3 more every time.
Yes. If the institution is willing to pay for it, then yes, you can subscribe, and then you don't have this problem of trying to get people to give to ensure that you have more videos. But if those who have no subscription, then you have to go that way.
Right. Okay. You just have to persuade the senior management to subscribe it.
Right. I have been persuading. I have been trying my best. So like you see, I've been using it since 2016, 2015. That's how long my journey in persuading, Lillian. I shared with you my struggles yesterday, right?
Yes. All right. Understood.
Yeah.
Thank you, Michelle.
So
Thank you, Michelle.
I'm still trying to persuade. Hopefully, you will get the subscription. And
Is it
because
very
no, it's not. The last time they gave me the quotation, it was how much is it already? I remember it was about 5,000 ringgit.
It's
per
a
year.
10,000.
And that is for at that time they were willing to give it to all the academic staff. But I'm not sure whether that price is still the same or not. But because at that point, I guess Edpuzzle was trying to get more people to use the tool, so maybe they were offering at quite a low price. Unfortunately, during that time, we didn't really budget that in under the department, so that's why it was not really approved. And also, as you know, we had this transition period and all with different owners, so that's why it was not approved. So hopefully in time to come, I can persuade the management.
We can get UWG to acquire it instead of campuses.
I'll try, yeah.
Talk with Jennifer and see whether we can get it under TD.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope
Wilma
so.
Before she leaves. Okay.
That's a
Because
good
it's so
idea.
useful. To me,
Yeah,
it's so
that's-
useful.
Yes, it's so useful,
Best
right?
students.
And it's really not expensive. And if you can see in the features, right, once you have the subscription, it can also easily be embedded into your LMS and all. So we shall see. I will try
Yes.
my best to work on my persuasive skills.
Thank you, Michelle.
You're most welcome. So, any questions? This is Stephanie. Was it during the lockdown time? I think so. I'm not quite remember. I guess it should be around that time. Anyone else? Any questions? So there are many more features, like I said, but I think I won't share too much today because I'm afraid that you get overwhelmed. I also want to leave some for you to discover on your own. However, if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me. Yeah. So lastly, tell me how you feel about using the flipped classroom model in your course now. Go back. You can go back to the link, the same link. I see one very excited person in the room.
Michelle, this is Charlie. I'd like to ask you a question.
Hi.
Because you have been using flipped classroom for many years.
Right.
Can you compare the student who use a flipped classroom and those under traditional approach? How clever or how smart they are using the flipped classroom, and is it more practical, effective only for those intelligent or self-motivated students, but not for those who are less motivated students?
I have not really done a research to compare, those who use it and those who have not used it, but there are researchers, out there who have done that. But in terms of my own observation, in students' motivation is one of the key things. If you talk about, because I teach English, obviously the ones who are least proficient are the ones who will be usually less motivated, especially when they have to do their work on their own at home when they are already not proficient. So they struggle. So another approach of using the flipped classroom model is they call it the modified flipped classroom model, where instead of having the students do the pre-class work in their own time at their own pace, they come to class and you allocate like half an hour or 1 hour for them to do the so-called pre-class work in class with you around guiding them at the same time. Then after 1 hour, only you go into the actual in-class activity. So with that, slowly students who are less motivated, or in my case, a lot of times those who are less proficient, will develop the confidence in doing their own work at their own time. They will be better in self-directed learning.
I see. Thank you.
So it takes time, like I said, for them to get used to it. So long time ago, we have in our timetable once a week, one class that students will all go to the computer lab, and that's where they will do all these kind of asynchronous activities, online activities. So that's where they also slowly learn the technological skills, how to do this, how to do that, what they're supposed to do. So slowly from that kind of training, students get more used to it and know that, okay, this is what it's like to learn on our own independently. So now we don't really have that hour that is in the timetable for students to do the so-called online activities anymore. They will have to do it on their own, in their own class time. Of course, like I said, then the struggle is still always there. Every semester we get new students. So new students, again, they are new to this kind of technique. So again, the coaching must be there. You have to keep on monitoring the students. Okay, thank you. Okay, in my screen here, I see 75% are very excited and 25% feeling very scared. Oh my God, I'm not sure if I made you feel that way today, but I hope that you have some time to digest over the weekend, and if you need to, perhaps you want to talk to me about your fear and I can help you to overcome it, right? Okay, so does anybody have any other questions before we wrap up? No? Nobody? No questions? Okay, so thank you very much. Thank you for your time. Yeah, I really appreciate your presence here today on a Friday. To my colleagues who are starting the semester next week, good luck. Happy flipping. I do hope that you will put what you have learned today in use. Yeah, and I hope that it will be beneficial to you and also your students. And to my colleagues in Hong Kong, enjoy the rest of your holiday and the weekend. I'll see you when I see you again. Take care. There's my email there. If you need my help, feel free to write to me. Okay, see you. Thank you. Bye, everybody.